5 fish, ladies and gentlemen, looking for 18-1, 31 pounds, 15 ounces, 31 pounds, 15.
Bassmaster Fantasy Fishing is back, and one thing we're all asking ourselves, is this going to be another year dominated by the young guns and the scoping techniques and front-facing sonar? I'm not so sure at St. John's. I'm going to get into that and give you some nuggets on why it may not all be about front-facing sonar at the St. John's River for the season opener. If you're not familiar, back again this year is the Beat HellaBass group for 2025. Like the past few seasons, we're going to have some great prizes for the group winners each and every single event for both fantasy fishing and Drain the Lake. This year, we are super excited to announce that we are partnered with Omnia Pro to bring the prizes for every single event. A winner on Drain the Lake and Traditional Fantasy Fishing Group for Beat HellaBass will be awarded with a free Omnia Pro membership for 1 year, which is a $49 value, which is awesome. I'll show you more on how that works and what it all ties into it in a little bit. If you don't want to wait, there is a code HB Pro where you can save 50% on that membership right now, and that'll get you free shipping, no minimum order, 10% back on all your baits, access to all the layers and premium features in the Omni app, and so much more. Now let's talk about how you join the Beat HellaBass group. Head over to groups and either follow the link down in the description below this video or search Beat HellaBass in the bar, find the private group. It's the largest private group in the entire thing. You join the group, enter the password RonnieWho to enter, and you're all set. Then you're eligible to compete for all the great prizes from Omnia Pro and so much more. And the year-end winners will win $100 gift cards from Omnia Fishing to spend on fishing tackle, lures, rods and reels, or whatever you want. And if you're an Omnia Pro member, as a contingency program at the end of the year, your gift cards will be doubled to $200. Great perk for those that are already Omnia Pro members and participating in fantasy fishing. And if you're not, take advantage of the deal and set yourself up for the contingency at the end of the year. Let's talk about the St. John's River to figure out who we are going to pick for all these games. I'm going to hop over to Omnia on the website. We're going to cruise on down to Florida, view the St. John's River here. It's been on a warming trend lately, so I think that's going to have the water warming up, but we're going to take a look at some of the temperature layer maps here on the Omnia app. One thing to know is Lake Rodman, like many years in the past, is not in play. So last year, Jacob Phelps did really well scoping in Rodman Reservoir, and where other people have done well on jerkbaits and things like that, scoping that offshore timber and stuff, that stuff is not in play. So make that part of your consideration when you're deciding what kind of anglers you're selecting. 392 people already follow the St. John's River Omnia. There's 39 fishing reports. Here's some top products for this time of year. There's a breakdown video we could watch from John Cox, but I want to take a peek at the fishing reports and see if there's any recent fishing reports. Like only one report from this year in January, and it reports swim baits up shallow, slowly working it back. The Shadron from Z-Man. You can also sort by most relevant, and it'll show some February reports from past years where we had the Z-Man jackhammer called out, Rapid jerkbait when Patrick Walters did well in 22, Bob Downey doing well on a lipless crankbait in February of 22, Bang Sticks when Seth Fighter did well, fishing canals, Texas rigs, flipping plastics, that kind of stuff seems to have played in the past. So you can see the current weather is 67 degrees as we're recording this video. We're in a full moon right now. So there could be some things happening on the river right now. Palaka is the area of the river that we're taken out of, so we can zoom in on that. Water clarity layer is turned on. And we can see some of the popular places like Lake George and Crescent Lake have some different levels of clarity. But what I'm most interested for this particular event is the water temps. And we can see that there is water temps in Crescent ranging from mid 50s up to the 60s already. So with the tournament being about 10 days out, I would expect there's going to be some spawning action going on. And then if we go down here to Lake George, we see something similar and even a little bit warmer water in Lake George. So keep that in mind as you pick your team. So this is a really cool tool for scouting, obviously fantasy fishing, but even a cooler tool when you're scouting the lakes you're going to go to by your house or you're traveling to new lakes. This is a really awesome tool, and this is all free on the website. Some of these layers are part of the Pro package. We can also check out some of the vegetation. Seems like the vegetation has been knocked back a little bit because of some storms and hurricanes. So not a ton of vegetation, but there is some, and we'll definitely see some of the anglers keying on probably some of that, both pre-spawn and spawning activity. With that all being said, we can kind of put our minds in the right kind of place on how we want to pick anglers for all three of the games. So we're going to start out with the brand new Bassmaster Pick'em Challenge, which is new this year, and it's a really simple game. So if you've been intimidated by the complication of some of the games in the past, this is a much simpler game and a good stepping stone into fantasy fishing. So the first matchup is reigning AOI versus ROI. The Johnsons have had a ton of success down here, but I'm not going to bet against Trey McKinney. If it wasn't for a phone call last year from his mom, he probably would have won AOI himself. I'm going to give Trey McKinney the benefit of the doubt here, and I think he's going to overthrow Chris Johnson in this head-to-head matchup. Then we have Florida Showdown, John Cox, Drew Benton. Really hard to pick this one. This one could definitely go either way. I'm going to take John Cox. He's rocking the new Vexus this year. That's pretty exciting to watch. So I'm just going to go John Cox because I'm a fan. Matchup 3, Battle of the Beards. Fouts versus Gee. This is tricky because these guys are both definitely, considered part of the scoping crowd. And Jacob Fouts had a really good event here last time, but that was definitely in Robin Reservoir. So did he have any fish in any other places? I'm not sure. So I think this could be a tough matchup for both anglers, but I'm going to go with Fouts because I know he's been here more times and he's got more experience. International Showdown, Taco Itu versus Carl Jochimson. Do a little historical look up. St. John's River has been rough on Carl Jochimson several times. I think Taco Itu tricks in his bag that he'll be able to figure something out and win this head-to-head battle. Battle of the Roommates, Walters versus Hamner. Hamner coming off the Classic Champ. Both jerkbait experts, both really have done well here in the past, but I think Patrick Walters has more experience all the way back to his rookie year. I think he'll get it done again this time, and he'll get the leg up in the roommate battle. Former champs, Johnston versus Cruz. Johnson won last year on the late spawning fish. John Cruz won the time before that. I'm going to go Corey Johnson because I think it is going to be a spawning event. So I think that's going to, if it was more of a pre-spawn or a different kind of bite, I'd pick John Cruz. Honestly, this one's a tough one to call as well. Lastly, Battle of the Tylers. Tyler Rivette versus Tyler Williams. Tyler Williams, notably an offshore angler, loves to fish deep brush piles, offshore structure. Tyler Rivette likes fishing shallow, getting his hands dirty. I think that fits his style a little better for this event. So there's my pick 'em picks this week. Now we're going to jump over to the traditional fantasy fishing game where we're going to go through the 5 buckets like we always do and break down our picks. And I'll give you a little insight on the buckets and some other picks that you might be interested. Obviously, we all start at 0. So everybody is on even playing field to start the year for all of these games. As always, I like to start at bucket E and work my way up to bucket A. Scott Martin is getting a lot of attention in bucket E because he's a Florida native, but his record on the St. John River is less than stellar. So I'm going to avoid that. Now, Dakota Ebear is no rookie. He's caught them just about everywhere in the country. He's had some success in Florida. Didn't really find a lot of information about him fishing the St. John's River, but he is a good pick here. He is definitely not a rookie. He's had tons of success on everything on the MLS side. And now 1 year into the Opens, he's qualified for the Elites. Definitely a dangerous angler. Now we have John Cruz here, rightfully so, getting some. He's got a pretty good track record on the St. John's River, kind of flip-flopping one good one okay event, and obviously has a win here. A couple other veterans in here that have done well, but Bernie Schultz is another native, also doesn't have a great track record on the St. John's River being a Florida guy. But I'm going to go Bo Browning because the rookies were strong last year. I think the rookies will be strong this year. Bo Browning definitely knows how to scope, but he's definitely an angler that can get it done, burn the bank with a chatterbait is one of his mainstays. He won't be afraid to flip and frog. I think Bo Browning will be a strong pick and a great value in this bucket. Bucket D, we got Christie, Cobb, Menendez, Robertson, rookie Emil Wagner. There's lots of good anglers in bucket D to look at here. Jason Christie getting a lot of love. He's definitely had his ups and downs at the St. John's River. Brandon Cobb being a sight fishing potential event. He's done very well on Hartwell, Lake Fork, other places on sight fishing events. Like his opportunity there. Mark Menendez has been pretty strong over the years on St. John's River, so if you're looking for a veteran. Emil Wagner, an up-and-coming rookie. I'm probably going to definitely pick him a lot this year, but I don't think it's going to be this time. Brandon Card loves himself a Senko. That's probably going to catch him everywhere we go this time of year. But I'm going to go a little bit further down the list, and I'm going to go with another rookie. I'm going Andrew Loberg out of Gunnersville, Alabama, but previously from the West Coast, California. So he definitely understands the California Delta, understands tides, understands rivers. He's another guy coming over that has done well on MLF at different levels. So I'm going to go Andrew Loberg and go with a big value pick here. Bucket C, we got Hackney had a lot of great events out of Crescent Lake over the years. Brandon Palaniuk, who has a stellar record on the St. Johns River, even though his Florida record is a little shaky at best, his St. Johns River is very strong. Kyle Welcher, think back to his rookie year, he caught like a 10-pounder out of a hyacinth mat on the St. Johns River. We already talked about Tyler Rivette. Seth Fighter has had some good events. Brian New has won a tournament here. There's a lot of good value in bucket C here, but I'm going to go with old Bob Downey because I just got to, he had a second, he had a runner up here. After his rookie year, he's had all pretty solid finishes on the St. Johns River. And I got a feeling that after a long winter, Bob's going to get down there and crack some big largemouth heads and have a good event. Also, I wouldn't sleep on Paul Marks, one of the EQ rookies in this bucket as well. Bucket B, lots of Florida juice here. We got fan favorite YouTube angler Ben Milliken here in this bucket. Lee Livesey. We've got some of the Japanese finesse anglers. We got Drew Benton, Drew Cook, both sight fishing anglers, both very good, very strong on the St. Johns River. Wouldn't be surprised to see any of those guys win. It's really hard for me. John Cox, Drew Benton, Drew Cook, all would be at the top of my list of favorites for this event. But in the end, I'm going to go John Cox as he has grown up in this area now, not typically going out of the area that Palaka, he typically fishes the other end, which the range of his aluminum boats doesn't always allow him to have as much fishing time for some of that stuff, but he's had some massive days on the St. Johns River sight fishing and fishing super shallow. So I expect that to continue and looking for him to maybe hoist his first blue trophy ever on the St. Johns River. Lastly, we land on bucket A. We got Corey Johnston. We got Chris Johnson here, both very strong. One of them getting the win last year. We got veteran Jordan Lee, Patrick Walters, Trey McKinney, Hamner, Easton Fothergill, EQ Open winner. Lots of, Fouts had a top 10 last time here. Lots of super good anglers, but I'm actually going to go Brandon Lester. He has a consistent track record here, and it's a pretty good value pick here. He's got plenty of top 10s and top 20s, and he's very solid on the St. Johns River. I think this could be a breakout year and a bounce back year for Brandon Lester. Time for Drain the Lake, and lastly, we get to that tiebreaker weight. Drain the Lake is a season-long strategy eliminator game, if you haven't played it before, where you can only use one angler all season, and you have to use 8 anglers for each event. So you have to use 80 of about 80 of the 104 anglers of the season. Little wrinkle there at the Classic. We'll tackle that when we get to the Bassmaster Classic, but it's great to plan out your season, the entire event. If you want some help and a tool to help you plan, for Drain the Lake, I'll have a tool with a link down in the description that you can access and check it out. But we're going to go over the picks for St. Johns River. We're going to take Drew Benton, John Cox. We're going to grab both the Johnstons in a bold move and not save them for any smallmouth fisheries down the year, because I don't think we need the Johnsons at St. Clair. There's other options. Taking Brandon Palaniuk. I'm going to take a flyer on Kyle Patrick after coming off a really good year last year. I think he'll suit himself well for this event. We're going to use another one of the rookies from last year, Trey McKinney, who almost rookie of the year, almost won the AOI. We'll round it out with John Cruz, another former champion here. So our 8 angler roster: Drew Benton, John Cox, Chris Johnson, Corey Johnson, Brandon Palaniuk, Kyle Patrick, Trey McKinney, and John Cruz. Now, you get bonus points if you pick the winners in these events. So it's really great to plan this out and literally try to lock in somebody that's going to win on these events, because you get double points for the win, and it makes up a huge difference for your year-end totals in Drain the Lake. If you're a fan of Omnia Fishing already or new to check it out and you want to save 15% on your next order, check out the code down below to save 15% on rods, reels, tackle, or anything else you want to grab at Omnia, and test out their great fast shipping and great customer service. If you want any more info on how to join Beat HellaBass, the details of the prizes, and all that stuff, it's all broken down in my season opener video, which you can watch on the screen right here next.